Good morning, children. Now we are in the last part of the 8th lesson, periodic classification lesson. First part we have discussed about the periodic table, periods, groups and periodic properties. The second part we have discussed about metallurgy, how we can extract the metals from the earth crust. The last part of this lesson we are going to see now. Before entering into the topic, just I want to show you one video so that you can guess what we are going to learn in this class.
Alloys and its importance. Steel. Imagine a truck crossing a bridge which is manufactured from the alloy steel. Steel has the property that it can be used in the construction industry for bridges and large buildings. When a heavy vehicle crosses the bridge, the vibrations takes place from one side to the other. The steel bridges possess the property of toughness and tensile strength, allowing it to absorb the vibrations caused by the cars and lorries. The bridges will last 100 years or more if maintained properly. Instead, imagine a bridge made from iron. Iron is a very brittle metal, likely to break or snap if it receives a sudden blow or shock. When the truck or lorries pass through the bridge, the vibrations takes place from one end to another. Iron does not possess the property of toughness or tensile strength to the required standard. Therefore, it will not absorb the vibrations and the bridge gets shattered. As pure iron is brittle, therefore, carbon is added in it to form steel, which is tensile and can bear the vibrations that occur in buildings, bridges, etc.
Okay, children, I hope you have guessed what is the topic we are going to see now. It is nothing but alloy. Okay, now you saw in the video why we have to make alloy. Okay, the single element, the single metal, sometimes it is not good for our use. When we are combining with some other metal, the tensile strength may be increased. Okay, the strength may be increased, the color may be increased. Okay, the temperature may be reduced. We can make the product as we wish. Okay, how we expect, in such a way we can bring when we are mixing one metal with the another metal. Okay, so that is one is called as alloy. So alloy is nothing but it is a homogeneous mixture. You know what is homogeneous and heterogeneous, isn't it? Heterogeneous, the two different phase. Okay, it will be appear as a two different phase. Just for example, sand and water. Okay, the water will be present as a separate layer and the sand will be exist as a separate layer. Okay, we can identify different layers there. But homogeneous means it is a single phase. For example, sugar solution, salt solution. Okay, so such type. Same here, homogeneous. That means when we are adding 2 metal or 3 metal, 4 metal, whatever it may be, but it will remain in the single phase. We cannot identify this is zinc, this is copper, this is aluminium, this is iron. We can't see in different layer there. It will be mixed together. It will exist as a single phase. Okay, that is called what? Homogeneous. So these alloys are homogeneous mixtures of 2 or more metals. Sometimes we will use some non-metals also for its strength. Okay, so definition they can ask in 2 more questions. Define alloy. Okay, alloy is nothing but it is a homogeneous mixture of 2 or more metals. Okay, combined and produces the alloy. The next one here, the best example for this alloy is gold, which we are using for our jewelry purpose. Okay, the pure gold is very soft, easily we can break. But when we see the jewels, it is quite hard. Okay, it is quite hard. When you are giving high full strength, surely it will be a break. But it is we can make it in any form. Okay, it is not such soft, isn't it? We can make it in the ring form. We can make it in the chain form. Okay, in which form we need, we can make it. Yes or no? So for that, what we are adding there? Okay, you know we are adding copper. Okay, the 22% only gold, the remaining 2 part is copper. Okay, that is 24 karat gold we are telling. Okay, 24 karat gold means what? 22 part is gold and 2 part is copper. When we are mixing the copper only, the gold is getting strength. Okay, it is strengthened by the copper. Then only we can make it in the form of our wish jewels. Okay, or in the form of thin wires, whatever we need. Okay, in such a form we can make after mixing with the copper only. So the normal jewel which we are using also, it is an alloy. Okay, for the betterment. Okay, for the long life we are using like that. Okay, so the best example is the gold and copper. The next one here, I said when 2 metals are mixed together, it is called alloy itself. Here one special metal is there, that is mercury. When you are mixing the metal with mercury, then the alloy is called as amalgam. Okay, what it is called? It is called as amalgam. So any metal when it is mixed with mercury and it is converted in the form of alloy means such composition, such a solution is called as amalgam. Okay, so amalgam is nothing but mercury formula Hg. Okay, mercury plus metal when it combines together is called as amalgam. Okay, when you meet the dentist, okay, for the dental filling they will use one silver amalgam. Okay, that is nothing but silver tin amalgam. Okay, silver, tin and Hg, mercury. Okay, these 3 will be mixed together as a alloy. That only they are using to fill the hole in that teeth. Okay, so for dental filling what they are using means it is silver tin amalgam. One more question. Okay, so in this alloys, how one metal is binding with another metal. Okay, so what type of bond is present in it? The bond present in it is nothing but metallic bond only. All are metals, so the bond present in it is metallic bond. And also one more force also is present there, that is electrostatic force, which we can find in ionic bond. Okay, that is the electron and the nucleus will be attracted. Okay, the positive charge and the electron will be attracted towards each other, so that the force will be very firm. Okay, so that they will be held very tight. Okay, so here also along with metallic bond, electrostatic force also is present there. Okay, electrostatic force is between the electron and the positive nature of metal. Okay, metals are highly electropositive in nature, like that we have learned in the first part of this lesson. Yes or no? Easily they will donate electron and they will become electropositive in nature. Okay, M+. Okay, like that we have discussed. Okay, so here the electron and the positive nature of the metal will attract with each other, so that the bond will be very firm. Okay, so the next one here, why we have to do alloy. Okay, what is the reason for making alloys? Okay, in the first video itself we have learned, okay, why we have to do alloys, why we have to make alloys. Okay, so the reasons are in order to modify the color, in order to change the melting point, or as we can say in order to reduce the melting point. Okay, then in order to make the strength, okay, to raise its strength, for that purpose we are making alloys. Okay, the next one here, method of making alloys. Okay, so how we can make the alloys, how we can combine one metal with another metal. Here 2 methods they are adopting. The first method is fusing method and second method is compressing method. Okay, fusing, in this fusing method one metal with another metal, just they will keep it in separate furnace and they will boil. Okay, when they give the temperature, both will melt and they will mix with each other. Okay, that is one method. And another method, compressing, we have to make the metal in fine powder. Okay, we have to make it as a fine powder, then we can keep both together and again we can compress it, so that one metal will be compressed with the another metal. Okay, so by this 2 method we can make alloys. Okay, the last one is here, these alloys are, even though they are solid from metal plus metal, but we are calling it as a solid solution. Okay, so solution means what? Solute plus solvent. Solute, it is a smaller amount. Solvent, it is a larger amount. Okay, sugar in water, that is sugar solution. So sugar is a smaller amount, small amount only we will take. So water, how much we will take? We will take large amount. The smaller amount is called as solute, the larger amount is called as solvent, so that we can get the solution. Solute plus solvent, solution. Okay, so in the alloys also we are not mixing the metals in equal amounts. Okay, for example, in iron alloy maximum part will be iron. Okay, only few amount of copper, few amount of nickel, few amount of chromium only we will add to increase the strength. Okay, to enhance the strength of the iron, just we are mixing other elements in small quantity. So the metals which we are using small quantity, those are all called solute. Okay, the large quantity is called as solvent, so that we can say the alloys are solution. Solute plus solvent, it is solution. So what type of solutions they are? Solid solutions. Okay, so just for example, brass. This brass is a copper alloy. Now we will see the alloys, types of alloys also. Brass belongs to copper alloy. It is copper will be in maximum content and zinc will be small quantity. Okay, so zinc plus copper, it is brass. Zinc is solute, copper is solvent. Okay, one more question. Brass belongs to copper alloy. What is the composition of what is present in brass? Okay, zinc and copper, which is the solute, which is the solvent. Like that also they can ask in one more question. Okay, then next here, types of alloys. What are the types of alloys are present? Okay, so based on the amount of ferrous present in the alloy, they are classified into two types. One is ferrous alloys and another one is non-ferrous alloys. Suppose the alloy is containing iron, that is ferrous, then the alloys are called as ferrous alloys. Just for example, steel, nickel steel, okay, stainless steel. Normally you are using a scale, no, stainless steel scale, no, that scale. Okay, it has iron, but along with iron we are having some amount of nickel and chromium. Okay, so that easily it won't get corroded. Okay, otherwise simply if you are having the scale only with iron, means easily it will be corroded. The corrosion reaction will take place. Just before we have discussed now the corrosion reaction in presence of atmospheric air and water, the corrosion will take place, the rust will form on it. Okay, but in your stainless steel scale, the rust does not form. If you want, you can check. If you keep the stainless steel in bleaching powder easily it will corrode anything. Okay, so if you want to do, just take your stainless steel and one iron nail in two different beaker or two different vessel you have, just add bleaching powder and water. Keep these two in different apparatus. Okay, different thing which you have taken. Just see, after one day the iron nail will be corroded, easily it will be corroded, but the stainless steel does not. The reason, it is not pure iron, it is mixed with chromium, nickel. Okay, then that's why it is not getting corrosion easily. Okay, if you want you can do and see. Take bleaching powder solution and take one iron nail and steel scale which you have. Okay, keep it and see. Okay, so based on that, here we are classifying into ferrous and non-ferrous. Ferrous example, the steel, stainless steel. Okay, non-ferrous example, aluminum alloys, copper alloys. See, in copper alloy brass there is no iron, only zinc and copper is present. Okay, now we are going to see the types of alloys and the composition and the uses in the video now.
Alloys of copper. Brass is an alloy of copper with the composition copper 60 to 80%, zinc 20 to 40%. The uses are for making utensils, condenser tubes, wires, etc. Bronze is an alloy of copper with the composition of copper 75 to 90%.
Tin is equal to 10 to 25%.
The uses are for making cooking utensils, statues, coins, etc. Gunmetal is an alloy of copper with a composition of copper which is 87%, tin is 10%, and zinc is 3%. The uses are for making gun barrels, gears, castings, etc. Thank you for watching.
Alloys of aluminium. Aluminium is a bright metal and conducts heat and electricity well, but it is not a strong metal. An alloy of aluminium that retains its good properties and makes it strong would be ideal for many applications. Duralumin, magnesium and alnico are alloys of aluminium that are light but strong. Magnesium. This alloy of aluminium contains aluminium and magnesium. The percentages are aluminium Al 95%, magnesium Mg 5%. Magnesium is a very hard alloy and is also light in weight. Magnesium can be machined easily. It finds applications in many instruments and structures. Duralumin. Duralumin is also called duralium. It is an alloy of aluminium and copper. Some traces of other metals such as magnesium and manganese are added to enhance the strength of the alloy. The proportion of the metals in duralium is aluminium 92%, copper 4%, manganese 2%, magnesium 2%. You can see that duralumin has mostly aluminium, but duralium is found to be very strong and corrosion resistant. Duralumin finds applications in aircraft engines, car engines, pressure cooker, industrial cauldrons, undersea vessels and ships. Alnico. Alnico is an alloy containing aluminium Al, nickel Ni, iron Fe and cobalt Co. It has magnetic properties. It is used to make artificial magnets, useful in many industries. Alloys of iron. To make use of iron's good properties and eliminate its rusting, iron has to be alloyed with other metals. Most important alloy of iron is steel. Iron is mainly used as its alloys with carbon and other elements. The main alloys of iron are cast iron and steel. The difference in the mechanical properties of cast iron and steel is mainly due to carbon content. Cast iron is used to make bed plates of various machines, slabs, pipes and flywheels. Heavy-duty parts of various machines such as crankshafts are prepared from high-strength cast iron. The properties of steel can be modified by addition of other metals. When steel is alloyed with at least one metal like nickel, chromium, vanadium, manganese, cobalt, tungsten, etc., an alloy steel is obtained. Stainless steel. Steel itself is not very bright to look at. To make steel shining and attractive, nickel Ni and chromium Cr are added to it. Varying proportions of nickel and chromium give different grades of steel. Stainless steel is shiny, strong and corrosion resistant. It finds wide applications in making utensils, equipments, tools, etc. It is used extensively in many industries as containers, etc. Steel. Steel contains 99.5% iron, Fe, and 0.5% carbon. Sometimes carbon content can be as high as 1.5%. Steel is graded on the basis of its carbon content. Steel is much harder substance than iron. Steel is used for making nails, screws, railway lines, bridges, buildings, etc.
Okay children, I hope you have all understand what is alloy, why we are making alloy, how we can make alloy, then finally what are the types of alloys and its uses. Okay, just go through this. Then next we are going to see corrosion topic. Okay, in this corrosion topic, you know what is corrosion, isn't it? So corrosion is nothing but it is a hydrated ferric oxide which is formed on the iron. Okay, now we are going to see that also in the video how the corrosion is taking place. Okay, it is an electrostatic reaction, oxidation reaction. Okay, all those things we are going to see in the video now.
Rusting of iron. If iron is left in moist air at room temperature, iron gets corroded to form a red-brown substance. This substance is called rust. The process is called rusting. Rusting of iron, also known as the corrosion of iron. The rusting of iron needs air and water. The rusting of iron is a redox reaction, whereby oxygen acts as the oxidizing agent, iron acts as the reducing agent, as shown in the equation. The mechanism of the rusting of iron can be briefly explained as follow. When metal surface exposed to water droplets, a metal area which the center of water droplet have an oxidation process. The area on the edge of metal have reduction process. In negative terminal, each iron atom gives up 2 electrons to become iron 2 ions. An oxidation process occurs. Electrons are released at the negative terminal and flow through the positive terminal, where the oxygen dissolved in the water, to receive electrons to form hydroxide ions. And reduction process occurs. Ion iron 2 combines with hydroxide ions to form iron 2 hydroxide. Iron 2 hydroxide formed is oxidized by oxygen in the air to form dark brown material, namely iron 3 oxide hydrated. Thank you for taking time to watch this.
Yes children, I hope you have understood what is corrosion and how it is taking place. Okay, so when oxygen and otherwise when air and the water is present, the corrosion will take place. Okay, like that we have learned there how Fe2 plus is converted into Fe3 plus, how the ion is losing its electron. Okay, like that we have seen in the video. Now we are going to see the types of corrosion. Okay, so here dry corrosion and wet corrosion, 2 types are there. Dry corrosion, here there is no water. The atmospheric air only will undergo the contact with the iron or zinc, whatever it may be. Okay, then it will make the particular object to get corrosion. Okay, so that is dry corrosion, that is absence of moisture. Wet corrosion, it is in the presence of moisture. This electrochemical reaction which we have seen. Okay, wet this electrochemical reaction. Next we are going to see the prevention. Okay, now we know the corrosion is taking place. Because of the corrosion, we are losing the goodness of the car or machines. Okay, whatever it may be, the ship. Okay, it is we are losing the goodness. Okay, but we want to maintain it. Okay, how we can maintain? Otherwise, how we can prevent the corrosion? Now we are going to see in the video now.
Methods of preventing corrosion. Corrosion is a wasteful process and should be prevented. For preventing corrosion, we have to cut off the contact between metal and air. This is done in a number of ways. Some of the methods are given here. Let us look at these methods. Coating with oils and grease. Iron, steel instruments, parts of various machines and agricultural tools are kept smeared with oils when not in use. This prevents corrosion. Coating with paints. Railway coaches, bridges, furniture, automobiles, etc. are coated with paints to prevent corrosion. Coating with other metals. Sometimes metals are coated with non-corrosive metals. It includes galvanizing, tinning, electroplating, anodizing, etc. Galvanizing. Galvanizing is a process in which iron sheets are coated with zinc to prevent corrosion. For doing this, iron sheets are dipped in molten zinc, then taken out and allowed to cool to get galvanized iron. It is used to make buckets, roofing, boxes and other useful articles. Tinning. Tinning is a process of giving a coat of tin to the metals. Cooking vessels made of copper and brass get a greenish coating due to corrosion. It is poisonous. Therefore, they are given a coat of tin. Electroplating. In electroplating, metal surfaces are covered with another metal using electric current, and thus corrosion is stopped. Spoons, handles of bicycles, taps, etc. are electroplated. Many presentation articles, medals, etc. are gold plated or silver plated by electroplating. Anodizing. Anodizing is a process in which metals like aluminium, copper, etc. are coated electrically with a thin and strong film of their oxides which protect them from corrosion. Anodized aluminium articles such as soap cases, handles, doorknobs, etc. are commonly used. Alloying. Some metals, when alloyed with other metals, become more resistant to corrosion. Stainless steel is an alloy of iron which does not rust easily.
Okay children, I hope you have all understood the corrosion topic. Go through it, write it as a test and see. Thank you.